Ever walk past a notary's office and kind of wondered, like, what do these people actually do all day?
Right.
We see their stamp, their signature on important documents,
Yeah.
but their actual role, their daily grind, it can seem kind of mysterious.
Yeah, definitely.
You've sent us your curiosity about this unique profession, so today we're diving deep, deep, deep into the world of notaries public
Ooh,
with
notaries.
special insights from RoleCatcher's comprehensive career guide.
Yeah, it's funny how something's so commonplace, right? Like,
Yeah.
we've all probably needed a document notarized at some point,
At one point.
but it can also be surrounded by so much mystery. Like you said, what DO they actually do.
Exactly.
And RoleCatcher seems to agree. They call their guide Notary, the complete career guide.
Oh, wow.
So they're really aiming to break it all down
I like it.
in an engaging way, hopefully.
And they don't disappoint. First thing that struck me, the guide immediately goes beyond those cliche stereotypes, like the whole glorified stamp clicker image.
Right, it's easy to dismiss them like that. Like, oh, they just stamp things.
Right, exactly.
But when the guide digs into the core responsibilities,
Yeah.
it like reframes the role completely.
Okay.
It says it's all about, quote, authenticity and legality, which, okay, those sound pretty formal,
Sure. Love it.
but they have huge real-world implications.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break that down for me a little. What does that actually mean for someone interacting with a notary, like on a practical level?
So think of it this way. The notary is like the last line of defense against fraud.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
They're not just confirming it's your signature on a document.
Right.
They're verifying your identity. They're making sure you're signing freely, not being coerced.
Oh, interesting.
And basically, they act as a neutral witness to that whole transaction.
Okay.
This is critical for things like contracts, property deeds, wills.
Big stuff.
Exactly. It makes sure those agreements actually hold up in court if they ever need to.
So it's less about pushing paper and more about protecting people.
It's exactly.
Suddenly, those times I've needed a notary, like for a loan, it feels a lot more serious now than just getting a signature witnessed.
Right.
Okay.
And that brings us to another point the guide tackles head-on, the work environment.
Okay.
We might picture notaries stuck in, like, dreary offices.
Yeah, little dusty offices.
Yeah, but the reality is much more dynamic.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more. So does this mean I could run into a notary at, like, a coffee shop?
Maybe not a coffee shop, but it's not as limited as you might think.
Okay.
The guide highlights the range from those traditional settings like law firms and banks to more unexpected places.
My boy.
And get this, it mentions freelance notaries
What?
who set their own hours.
Wow.
Often work evenings and weekends to accommodate clients.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
Talk about flexibility.
I had no idea the profession had that kind of flexibility.
Right.
It's not something you typically associate with, like legal or official processes.
Right.
This is why I love these deep dives. Completely changes your perspective.
It's like uncovering this hidden world within a familiar one.
Yeah.
And speaking of uncovering things, the guides section on typical interactions,
Okay.
that paints a really vivid picture of a notary's day-to-day.
Okay.
It's easy to assume, again, it's all paperwork and stamps,
Right.
but the human element really shines through here.
That makes sense, especially when you consider the weight of what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Legality, fraud prevention. These aren't small potatoes.
No.
So who are they interacting with on a daily basis?
You name it. Clients from all walks of life, lawyers, even government officials.
Wow, okay.
And this is where those soft skills come into play.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's not enough to know the legal ins and outs. You need to be a skilled communicator,
Right.
able to explain complex information clearly, put people at ease, especially in situations that might be stressful.
Right, because you're dealing with, like, people's houses, their money.
Exactly.
It's a big deal.
Huge.
Fascinating how this seemingly straightforward job requires, like, such a diverse skill set.
Totally. And the guide digs even deeper into those skills in the next section, so we've only just scratched the surface.
So we've established that being a notary public is more than just stamping papers, right?
Way more.
It requires, like, serious attention to detail, communication, people skills.
Sure.
What else did RoleCatcher uncover about the skills needed to really thrive in this profession?
Well, get this. They list reading comprehension,
Okay.
active listening,
Makes sense.
and critical thinking as the top 3 essential skills.
Oh, wow. See, I wouldn't have thought of those right away, but that's really interesting.
It's not just about, like, spotting a misspelling, you know? It's
Yeah.
about truly understanding the documents, picking up on nuances, and then applying judgment.
Right, because the context matters.
Exactly. To make sure everything aligns legally and ethically, which is a big deal.
Yeah, huge. It makes a lot of sense, especially given all those diverse interactions we talked about. You got to quickly process information and adapt how you're communicating, depending on who you're with at the moment.
Absolutely.
It's a different kind of like intellectual engagement
Yeah, you're really flexing those brain muscles.
than you might initially expect from a notary.
Totally. And it goes even further.
Well, tell me more.
The guide also highlights legal knowledge,
Sure, yeah.
obviously, but also administrative skills, organization, even like native language mastery,
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
especially if you're working with clients from, diverse backgrounds.
Yeah, absolutely. That's key.
It really paints a picture of a much more well-rounded professional than just that stamp person stereotype, you know?
Right, exactly. I'm starting to think a notary needs like a whole utility belt of skills to handle it
A
all.
little bit, yeah.
But speaking of career path, I'm curious, does the guide talk about growth potential?
It does.
Is being a notary more like a stepping stone or more of a destination career?
That's where the career stages section really grabbed my attention. They lay out a clear path from entry level all the way to senior notary positions,
Okay, there's levels. I like it.
with increasing responsibility and even specializations along the way.
Oh, interesting.
And for those who are into mentoring, there's even a path toward training and guiding new notaries entering the field.
So you could be like a notary sensei.
Right.
Okay, so there's definitely room to level up. And you mentioned specializations. What does that look like for a notary? Are we talking like notary for cats or something?
Not quite, but it all is pretty cool.
Okay.
The guide explains that notaries can specialize in areas like real estate,
Oh, that makes sense.
finance,
Yeah.
or even specific types of legal documents.
Okay.
It adds a whole layer of like niche expertise.
Yeah.
And opens up these totally different career trajectories depending on your interests.
That's really neat. This seemingly niche profession is suddenly bursting with possibilities.
Right.
And I have to imagine having a platform like RoleCatcher to kind of help navigate all these options
Yeah.
would be incredibly valuable.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Their platform isn't specifically designed for notaries,
Cool.
but it offers tools and resources that can be incredibly helpful for, honestly, anyone in the job market these days.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Especially those who are looking for efficiency
Oh, always.
and, a competitive edge, which, knowing you and our listeners,
Yes.
is a top priority.
Okay, you've piqued my interest.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this RoleCatcher platform and what makes it stand out in, let's be honest, the crowded world of job searching these days.
Yeah.
So we've gone from, like, what does a notary even do?
Right.
To uncovering this profession with, like, surprising depth and career paths
Yeah,
that I bet most people never even considered.
totally.
But let's be real, the job market, it can be a beast.
It can be brutal out there.
How does RoleCatcher make navigating that world a little easier, a little less scary?
Well, for starters,
Yeah.
picture this. You're no longer stuck endlessly scrolling through like dozens of job boards.
So many tabs.
Right. Each with their own clunky interface.
The worst.
RoleCatcher pulls all those listings from multiple sources,
Oh, nice.
gives you this one centralized hub to explore opportunities,
Oh, right.
which for someone like you who values efficiency, thoroughness,
Always.
that's a game changer.
I can already see how that would save me like a week of my life, honestly.
Right.
Especially for those of us with, shall we say, a healthy dose of curiosity about different career paths.
Got to keep those options open.
Oh, always.
Yeah?
But isn't the real battle like getting your application noticed
Oh, yeah.
amidst that sea of other candidates?
That's where their AI comes in.
Okay.
And this is where RoleCatcher goes from helpful to seriously impressive.
Ooh, all right.
Their platform actually analyzes job descriptions.
Okay.
And not just for keywords.
Yeah.
But for the underlying skills and qualifications the employer is truly after.
It's like reading between the lines for you.
Exactly. Like having a secret decoder ring for job posting.
I love it. Tell me more. So how does that help my application stand out?
Okay, so think of it this way. You could spend hours tailoring your resume and cover letter to each job.
Oh, I've been there. It's painful.
Right. But there's no guarantee you're hitting the right notes.
Totally.
RoleCatcher's AI does that heavy lifting for you.
Okay.
It identifies the key areas to emphasize in your experience
Oh, that's smart.
based on what matters most to that specific employer.
Okay.
It's about working smarter, not just harder.
I'm all about that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the part of the job search that gives me, like, the worst anxiety.
Oh, what's that?
Interviews. Does RoleCatcher offer any, like, help with that often dreaded step?
They do, and it's another area where they really shine.
Okay, good.
Remember how we talked about you being a learner, loving those aha moments?
The best.
Their platform includes this database, ready for it?
Maybe.
Over 120,000 interview questions.
Wait, 120,000, that's like an encyclopedia of interview prep.
Right, and it's not just a random list either. Okay,
Okay.
good. Each question includes, like, expert-guided approaches to crafting strong answers,
Oh, that's useful.
along with sample responses, just as inspiration.
So you're not going in totally blind.
Exactly. It's like having a personal interview coach, like right there in your pocket.
Okay, you had me at personal interview coach. Seriously, this platform sounds like a game changer for, honestly, anyone in any field. So much for Notary being like this quiet, behind-the-scenes kind of job.
Right. We had no idea.
Turns out, even getting there requires some pretty high-tech assistance these days.
The future is now.
Right. It's a reminder that learning never stops,
Right.
that there are always new discoveries to be made, whether it's about ourselves, our career aspirations, or even those everyday professions we thought we knew everything about.
Exactly.
So to our listener, we challenge you. What seemingly ordinary job or career path sparks your curiosity?
Ooh.
What hidden depths might you uncover if you just took a little deep dive of your own?
Love.
And remember, whether you're drawn to the, shall we say, meticulous world of legal documents or something totally different,
Yeah.
platforms like RoleCatcher exist to make that exploration a little bit easier.
Way easier.
Until next time, happy learning.